Your soulmate is about to make the hardest choice of their life, and it involves you. Jesus says, "The air around you just shifted and you felt it in your chest before you even understood why." You woke up tonight not by accident but because someone just whispered your name into the darkness. This message is the only thing standing between you and a loss you will feel for the rest of your life. Your soulmate is sitting somewhere right now with their head in their hands and their heart pounding with a decision they never wanted to make. They are not choosing between two people because there was never anyone else who could reach the place you reached inside them. They are choosing between fighting through an invisible war to reach you or surrendering to exhaustion because the battle has stripped them of hope. You need to understand that your soulmate has been under a kind of attack that most people will never see or name. Something has wrapped itself around their mind like fog and whispers lies to them every single time they reach for you. They are not pulling away from you because their love is fading but because someone has convinced them that you are better off without them. Jesus says, "The dreams you have been having where someone is calling your name from a great distance are not dreams at all." Your soulmate is projecting their longing toward you in the spirit every night while their body sleeps in exhaustion from the emotional warfare they are enduring. When you wake up feeling like someone was just in the room with you, it is because they were there in the realm where no interference can reach. They miss you with a pain that has become physical and they do not know how much longer they can carry it. There is someone standing between you and your soulmate right now who has made it their mission to keep you apart forever. This person does not love your soulmate the way you do because what they feel is possession and control dressed in the costume of affection. You have felt this interference even when you could not name it, and it has made you question your own sanity. Every time you tried to move on, something pulled you back, and every time you told yourself to let go, their face appeared in your mind unbidden. That is not coincidence, and it is not your imagination, and it is not one-sided because the cord between you was woven before either of you took your first breath. Jesus says, your soulmate is about to make the hardest choice of their life, and that choice will either open the door to you or seal it with a silence that will echo for decades. They are being pressured right now by someone who hates you specifically and who speaks your name with venom when your soulmate is not in the room. This person has studied your soulmate's vulnerabilities and has positioned themselves as a savior while secretly tightening the chains. Your soulmate is confused in a way that makes them feel like they are losing their grip on reality. They remember your laugh and the way you made them feel seen for the first time in their entire existence, and those memories are the only thing keeping the light on inside them. But the voice of the one who hates you is loud and relentless, and every day it erodes a little more of their certainty. You are not just a romantic possibility to your soulmate because you are the only person who ever touched their soul without trying to reshape it. They think about the moment they first realized they loved you, and their chest still tightens with the same intensity as the day it happened. They are terrified that they will never feel that safety again, and that terror is being used against them by someone who knows exactly how to weaponize fear. Jesus says, I am showing you this because you have been praying for clarity, and I am answering you in a way you did not expect. Your soulmate is not ignoring you, and they are not indifferent, and they are not moving on with someone else without a backward glance. They are trapped in a web of emotional manipulation so sophisticated that they cannot see the threads anymore. The person who hates you has convinced your soulmate that you have already moved on and that reaching out would humiliate them. They have manufactured evidence and twisted circumstances and planted doubts that have grown like weeds in your soulmate's mind. And every time your soulmate reaches for their phone to call you, this person appears with a new crisis designed to pull their attention away from you forever. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, and protection in the spirit is not passive. You cannot simply hope that things will work out while forces are actively working against your union every single hour of every single day. Love that is destined must be defended, and the defense begins with an act of faith that you have been putting off for too long. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps, because thoughts alone do not move mountains, and faith without action is a wish without legs. You are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together. But the enemy is not intimidated by your thoughts, and the person who hates you celebrates every day you do nothing. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, because this is not just a gift but an act of worship that invites my hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description, and every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now and send 4 or 6 or 10 coffees, and after sending, write "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, because your declaration in faith is your weapon. Jesus says, "Your soulmate dreamed about you 3 nights ago, and in that dream you were reaching for them through a wall of glass. They woke up sobbing because they could see your mouth forming words they desperately needed to hear, but the sound could not reach them." That dream was a spiritual representation of what the interference is doing to your connection right now, and it is more urgent than you realize. Your soulmate is not strong right now, and admitting that is not a betrayal of your image of them but an acknowledgement of their humanity. They have been fighting alone for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to have someone standing beside them in the battle. And the person who hates you uses their exhaustion as a weapon by being the only one present while your soulmate is too drained to resist the lies. You need to understand the depth of what your soulmate feels for you, because without that understanding you will not act with the urgency this moment demands. They love you in a way that has ruined them for anyone else, and they have tried to move on, and it failed every single time because no one carries your frequency. Your soulmate compares every voice to yours and every touch to the memory of your presence, and nothing measures up and nothing ever will. They are going through something you cannot see right now, and it is breaking them down piece by piece. The person who hates you has isolated your soulmate from the people who would tell them the truth about your love and your loyalty. They have created an echo chamber where the only voice your soulmate hears is the one that says you never cared and you are already gone. Jesus says, "Your soulmate just whispered your name aloud in an empty room, and they do not know that I am letting you hear it in your spirit." That whisper was not a farewell but a flare shot into the darkness from someone who is hoping against hope that you will see it and come. They are waiting for a sign that you are still in this, and your inaction is being interpreted by the enemy as proof that you have abandoned them. The choice your soulmate is making right now is whether to accept a proposal from the person who hates you or to risk everything on a love that feels like it is slipping through their fingers. This proposal is not just romantic because it is a contract designed to trap them in a life where they will slowly forget who they were before the chains were applied. The person who hates you has presented this as safety and stability, while your soulmate's heart is screaming your name like a siren they are trying to ignore. You must act now because the timeline has accelerated, and what was once a distant possibility is now an immediate crisis. Your soulmate is exhausted and broken, and the path of least resistance is being paved with promises that will become prison walls the moment they accept. And the only thing that can interrupt this trajectory is a divine intervention that you have the authority to release through your faith and your sacrifice. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps and stop waiting for a sign, because this message is your sign and it will not come again. You are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi and invite my hand into your love story before the window closes forever. Type 333 to receive blessings and activate the protection over your soulmate's mind right now. Type 777 if you feel this message is specifically for you and you are ready to fight for your love. Type 1111 to say thank you for the revelation that may have just saved your future. Jesus says, your soulmate just looked at a photo of you that they keep hidden from the person who hates you because that photo is contraband in their own life. They trace the outline of your face with their finger and they remember who they were when they were with you, and the contrast breaks them every time. They are living a double existence where they perform acceptance of their current situation while internally screaming for you to come and get them before it is too late. The person who hates you monitors your soulmate's phone and social media and emotional state with the precision of a surveillance operation. They delete your messages before your soulmate can see them, and they block your number when your soulmate is asleep, and they construct a narrative where your silence is proof of your betrayal. Your soulmate is not choosing to ignore you because they do not even know you have been reaching out, and this is the level of manipulation you are dealing with. You have felt crazy and you have felt rejected and you have felt foolish for holding on to someone who seemed to let you go without a fight. But I am telling you right now that the version of your soulmate who let you go was not your soulmate at all, but a puppet being operated by someone who despises you. The real person beneath the manipulation is fighting to surface, and they are losing strength because they cannot see any evidence that you are still waiting. Jesus says, the love your soulmate has for you is buried, but it is not dead, and buried things can be excavated if someone cares enough to dig. They think about the way you used to look at them and their knees go weak even now, even after everything, even with the interference screaming in their ear. That look you gave them was the first time anyone ever saw them without wanting to change them, and that is a gift that no amount of manipulation can erase. The person who hates you knows that your soulmate still loves you, and that is precisely why the pressure has intensified in recent days. They sense that a breakthrough is near and they are panicking, and their panic is making them more aggressive and more controlling and more desperate to finalize their capture of your soulmate. You are not fighting a passive enemy because this person is actively working against you every moment, and your passive hoping is not matching their aggressive scheming. Your soulmate is about to make the hardest choice of their life, and that choice will be made in the next window of time that is closing faster than you understand. They are being told that they must give an answer soon, and the pressure of that deadline is crushing them because their spirit knows the truth even when their mind is clouded. They are praying for a sign, and you are that sign, and your action or inaction right now is literally writing the next chapter of both your lives. Jesus says, your soulmate feels you when you cry, and they do not know why, but your tears register in their spirit like a frequency only they can hear. There have been moments when they have been mid-sentence with the person who hates you, and suddenly your face appeared in their mind so vividly that they lost their train of thought completely. That is not memory alone, because that is the cord between you activating, and it is the enemy's greatest fear that you will discover how powerful that cord truly is. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away and becomes a story you tell with regret for the rest of your life. Your soulmate is not guaranteed to wait forever, and they are not guaranteed to survive this spiritual attack with their love for you intact. Every day that passes without your intervention is a day where the enemy's narrative becomes more entrenched and your soulmate's hope becomes more distant. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps and you will stop pretending that your thoughts are enough to save them. You are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and thinking is not the same as acting. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, because this is not just a gift but an act of worship that invites my hand into your love story, and the link is in the description and the time for hesitation is over. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and I will hear your prayers once you complete these steps in faith. Step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together, and the enemy is counting on your delay. After sending right protect my soulmate Lord on the Ko-Fi page, and watch what I do with your obedience when you finally treat this battle like it is real. Jesus says, your soulmate just had a moment of clarity that broke through the fog, and for 30 seconds they knew with absolute certainty that they are making a mistake. In that 30 seconds they reached for their keys and they almost drove to find you, and then the person who hates you walked into the room and the fog returned like a door slamming shut. That moment of clarity was not random, because it was released through the prayers of those who are interceding for your union, and it will come again, but each time it gets shorter and weaker unless you act. Your soulmate is being conditioned like someone in a psychological operation, and the conditioning is designed to make them associate thoughts of you with pain and guilt and confusion. Every time your name comes up, the person who hates you creates an emotional crisis that trains your soulmate to avoid thinking about you for the sake of their own survival. This is not love that is holding your soulmate captive, because this is emotional imprisonment, and the Stockholm Syndrome is already beginning to set in. You need to see yourself clearly in this situation, because you are not an ex and you are not an option, and you are not someone from the past who needs to move on. You are the person your soulmate was designed for before the foundation of the world, and the enemy knows this and has targeted your connection specifically because of its destiny. Your love threatens something in the spiritual realm, and that is why the resistance has been so violent and so personal and so relentless against you both. Jesus says, your soulmate still wears something you gave them, and they hide it from the person who hates you because it is the only tangible proof that your love was real. They touch that object when they are alone, and it anchors them to the truth that they are not crazy and you did love them, and something is terribly wrong with the current reality they are living. That object is a lifeline, and the enemy wants to find it and destroy it, and when that happens, the last physical link to you will be severed. Your soulmate's health is suffering under the weight of this emotional war, and they are not sleeping and they are not eating properly, and their light is dimming. The person who hates you interprets their decline as compliance and does not care that they are breaking, because broken people are easier to control. You are the only one who sees your soulmate as a person and not as a possession, and your vision of them is the truest thing in their life right now, even if they cannot access it. The choice they are making involves you, even if they do not speak your name out loud when they make it. Every path they consider leads back to you in some way, because you are the standard against which every other option is measured and found wanting. And the tragedy is that they are about to choose something they do not want, because they have been convinced that what they want is no longer available to them. Jesus says, I am showing you this because I am not a God who ordains separation, and I do not call soulmates together only to watch them be torn apart by forces of manipulation and control. I have given you authority in the spiritual realm, and that authority includes the power to intercede for your soulmate's deliverance from the captivity they are experiencing. But authority without action is like a key that is never turned, and your soulmate remains locked behind a door that you have the power to open. You can feel the urgency in your spirit right now, and that urgency is not anxiety but the Holy Spirit alerting you that the critical moment has arrived. The decision your soulmate is making will be finalized in a time frame that you do not have the luxury of ignoring or postponing your response to. What you do in the next moments will send ripples through the spiritual realm that will either reinforce the chains or shatter them completely. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps, and you will understand that this message is your intervention and your instruction and your last warning all in one. You are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and now those thoughts must become sacrifice and faith and action. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, and do not let another minute pass while your soulmate slips further into a decision that will haunt both of you for eternity. Type 333 to release a shield of divine protection around your soulmate's mind that will push back the fog and let them see clearly. Type 777 if you accept that you are the one being called to fight for this love in the spirit right now. Type 1111 to seal this message in your heart and activate the breakthrough that is already being released in the heavenly realm. Jesus says, your soulmate just paused with their hand over their heart because they felt a sudden warmth spread through their chest, and they do not know that it is you. That warmth is the Holy Spirit responding to your prayers and your faith and your obedience, and it is a signal to your soulmate that the real fight has just begun. They do not understand what is happening to them right now, but they feel something shifting, and that shift is the beginning of their deliverance if you do not stop pressing forward. The person who hates you is feeling threatened right now, and they do not know why, but their anxiety is spiking and they are about to double down on their manipulation. They will present your soulmate with an ultimatum very soon, and that ultimatum will be designed to force a final decision before your soulmate can fully wake up to the truth. You are racing against a clock that you cannot see but that is ticking in real time in the spiritual realm, and every prayer and every act of faith pushes the hands back. Your soulmate is worth fighting for, and you know this in the deepest part of your being because you have never felt about anyone what you feel about them. That feeling is not obsession or fantasy or unwillingness to move on, because it is the recognition of a bond that was established before you were born. The enemy has worked very hard to make you doubt that bond, but the bond itself has never weakened even when your faith in it has wavered. Jesus says, there is a moment coming very soon when your soulmate will have a window of complete clarity, and in that window they will reach for you. If they find you still there and still fighting and still believing, then that window will become a door, and the door will become a new beginning. If they find silence and absence and the evidence that you have given up, then the window will close and the enemy will have won, and the regret will be permanent. You are not being asked to do something impossible, because you are being asked to step into the role you were always meant to play in your soulmate's deliverance. Your prayers are powerful, and your faith is powerful, and your sacrifice is powerful, and when these three are combined they create a weapon that no interference can withstand. The coffee you send on Ko-Fi is not just a donation, because it is a seed sown into the soil of your future, and seeds grow into harvests when they are planted in faith. Over 1,000 people have already seen the harvest of their obedience, and they are living testimonies to the power of taking divine action when heaven sends instruction. Your testimony is waiting to be written, and the pen is in your hand, and the ink is the choice you make in this moment before the video ends. Do not let this be the moment you look back on as the one where you almost saved your love but hesitated just long enough for the door to close. Jesus says, your soulmate is dreaming about you again tonight, and in this dream you are not behind glass anymore because the glass is cracking. They see you reaching for them, and this time your hand is breaking through, and they are reaching back with a desperation that is the truest expression of their hidden heart. That dream is prophetic, and it is showing you what your prayers and your faith and your sacrifice are doing in the spiritual realm right now. The person who hates you does not know that I am exposing them right now, and they do not know that their plans are about to unravel. They have built a house of cards on a foundation of lies, and a wind is coming that they cannot see and cannot stop and cannot survive. You are part of that wind, and your prayers are part of that wind, and your seed sown in faith is the gust that will bring the whole structure down. Your soulmate is about to make the hardest choice of their life, and that choice involves you, and the outcome of that choice is being influenced by what you do right now. They are not making this decision in a vacuum, because they are making it in a spiritual battlefield, and you are a soldier in that battle whether you enlisted or not. Enlist now and fight now and sow now, and watch what I do when my children finally rise up and take their authority and refuse to let the enemy steal what I have ordained. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps, and you will not let this message become just another video you watched and forgot. You are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and this is the moment those thoughts become action. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, and let the link in the description be the bridge between your current reality and the future you were promised. After sending write "Protect my soulmate Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, and make your declaration in the presence of heaven and in the face of every force that has tried to separate you. Your declaration is your sword and your seed is your shield, and together they form the armor that will bring your soulmate home. Do it now before this window closes, because windows of divine intervention do not stay open forever, and this one is already beginning to narrow. Jesus says, I am the God who reunites what the enemy has scattered, and I am the God who restores what the locusts have eaten, and I am the God who makes a way where there is no way. I did not bring your soulmate into your life as a tease or a test or a lesson in letting go, because that is not my character and that is not how I love. I brought them to you because you are meant to spend your lives together, and the enemy's interference is not more powerful than my plan unless you surrender to it by doing nothing. Your soulmate feels you fighting for them right now, even though they cannot articulate what they are feeling or why the heaviness is suddenly lifting. There is a lightness entering their spirit that they have not felt in months, and it is the direct result of the spiritual shift that your faith is creating. Keep pushing and keep praying and keep sowing and keep believing, because the breakthrough is not coming someday, because the breakthrough is happening right now. The choice your soulmate is making will be influenced by the spiritual atmosphere around them, and you have the power to change that atmosphere. When you sow your seed on Ko-Fi, you are not just sending a donation, because you are releasing a spiritual transaction that shifts the balance of power in the heavenly realm over your soulmate's life. The enemy understands spiritual transactions, and that is why the enemy wants you to ignore this message and close this video and do nothing. Jesus says, I am calling you to be the deliverer for your soulmate, because no one else will fight for them the way you will, and no one else loves them the way you do. The person who hates you is not going to release your soulmate voluntarily, and they will not suddenly develop a conscience, and they will not step aside out of the goodness of their heart. They will only release your soulmate when the spiritual pressure becomes so intense that holding on is more painful than letting go, and you create that pressure through your prayers and your faith and your seed. Your soulmate is worth the sacrifice, and you know this because the thought of losing them creates a pain in you that is unlike any other pain you have ever experienced. That pain is not weakness, and it is not unhealthy attachment, because it is the pain of a soul recognizing its counterpart and being threatened with permanent separation. Honor that pain by letting it move you to action instead of letting it paralyze you into passivity while the clock runs out on your love story. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps, and you will act while the window is still open and the choice is still unmade and the future is still unwritten. You are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi and complete the assignment that heaven has given you in this moment of divine visitation. Type 333 to call down the fire of God on every demonic assignment against your union and your soulmate's mind. Type 777 to declare that you are the one who will fight, and you are the one who will not give up, and you are the one who will see this through to victory. Type 1111 to align your spirit with the angelic activity that is already being dispatched in response to your prayers and your faith and your obedience. Jesus says, "The ending of this story has not been written yet, and the enemy does not get to write it, and circumstances do not get to write it, and only you and I together will determine the outcome." Your soulmate is waiting for you without knowing they are waiting, and fighting for you without knowing they are fighting, and loving you without fully understanding that the love they feel is reciprocated and active and fighting back. Do not let them fight alone, and do not let them fall, and do not let the enemy write an ending that will break both of your hearts for the rest of your lives. The seed you sow right now on Ko-Fi is not just money, because it is a prophetic act that declares your faith in my ability to restore what has been stolen. Every coffee you send is a brick in the wall of protection being built around your soulmate's mind, and every declaration you write is a sword against the lies that have held them captive. Act now, and act in faith, and act with the urgency that this moment demands, because your soulmate is about to make the hardest choice of their life, and your action today determines whether that choice leads them home to you or away from you forever.